Hi, Taehyung lovers. Welcome back to the Taehyung lovers channel around the world. Hold on, don't skip these 3 seconds. Because what you're about to see is not just an ordinary K-pop concert. This is a moment that splits the world in two. Those who are in awe and those who stay silent because they're not ready to accept the reality. April 2026 in Tampa. Something that should have been simple turned into an event that made many people question one thing: how is it possible that a single name like Kim Taehyung can control tens of thousands of emotions in a single second? This is not just about the stage, not just about visuals, but about the real power of BTS that not everyone is ready to acknowledge. And the most shocking part, that seemingly simple come-over moment actually triggered an irrational reaction on a global scale. In this video, we're going to break it all down without filters. How the Tampa sky turned into an ocean of army lights. How the massive stage felt like another world. How the audience's energy transformed into a living wave. And most importantly, how Taehyung stood there without excessive effort yet remained the center of gravity that could not be ignored. We'll also talk about the craziest moment when the intro of Run, Bulletproof Run shook the stadium like a small earthquake. The tiny details that made everything feel real, all the way to the surprising facts about BTS's global dominance that continues in every city. So before we go deeper, write in the comments right now, do you think this is still a concert, or has it become a phenomenon that not everyone is ready to accept? Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. And most importantly, help this video go viral so the world keeps seeing the real side, the good side, and the extraordinary power of Kim Taehyung that not all media dare to show. Under the Tampa night sky, time seemed to stop exactly when the stadium lights dimmed and a single red line of light slowly began to glow at the center of the stage. That second became the boundary between the outside world and the world that BTS was about to create, a world where music is not just heard, but felt deep into the bones. The final night of the third day of BTS World Tour ARIRANG 2026 did not come with small promises. It arrived on a scale that was almost impossible to comprehend. An event that from the very beginning felt like history being written in real time. The story opens with a wide perspective of vast human landscape transforming into an ocean of light, where every point of light is not just illumination, but a representation of emotion, hope, and a connection built over years between the artists and their fans. Thousands, even tens of thousands of ARMY held their lightsticks in perfect unison, creating a visual effect like a star-filled sky descending to Earth, as if the galaxy itself chose to come closer and witness this moment. The main stage, shaped like an extended runway, pierced through the stadium like a vein connecting all the energy in that place, channeling adrenaline from one side to the other without pause. Giant LED screens stood on multiple sides, displaying the members' faces in sharp detail. Every blink, every smile, every breath magnified until it felt so close, so real, that the line between reality and illusion blurred, as if every audience member was in the front row, even those seated in the highest stands. But what made this more than just a visual spectacle was a collective feeling that kept building second by second. Not a single corner was truly still. Not a single space was empty of the pulsing energy. From the highest tier to front row, everything moved in one rhythm, one frequency, creating an emotional synchronization rarely seen on such a massive scale. This was no longer an audience watching performance. This was a living ecosystem participating within it. A giant organism breathing through music, moving through rhythm, and living through an invisible yet tangible connection. Every cheer, every chant merged into a continuous wave of sound, creating an atmosphere that was not only heard, but physically felt. Now we move closer to the core of that energy, to the point where intensity reached an almost unimaginable level. On stage, the dancers moved with high precision, forming dynamic patterns that constantly shifted with the beat of the music, like puzzle pieces always finding their place in perfect harmony. Explosive orange visual effects lit up the air, creating a dramatic impression almost like sparks dancing in the night sky, adding another stunning visual layer, while emphasizing the scale of the production. A thin layer of smoke covered the stage floor, creating an illusion of depth and dimension, making every step feel heavier, more meaningful, and more dramatic. In the middle of it all, Kim Taehyung stood as the undeniable center of gravity. No excessive movement, no visible effort. His mere presence was enough to draw tens of thousands of eyes locked onto a single point. When he slowly turned his head, scanning the ocean of fans with a calm yet meaningful smile, the atmosphere shifted instantly. There was a brief pause, not because of silence, but because the entire stadium collectively held its breath, waiting for what would happen next. That moment felt long, as if time itself slowed down to make space for the growing anticipation. Then it happened. Come over. A simple invitation, 2 words that in a normal context might sound light, but in the hands of Kim Tae-young turned into an irresistible emotional command. Within seconds, the entire stadium responded without hesitation. Thousands of people jumped, screamed, and moved together, creating a wave of energy that was not only visible but could be felt in the air, in the chest of everyone present. Kim Tae-young began to dance not with rigid, complex choreography, but with a freedom that made it feel more real, more human, more intimate. He wasn't just performing. He was interacting, leading, and bringing the atmosphere to life in a way no formula could replicate. This is where the true strength of the concert lies, a genuinely alive two-way connection. BTS did not stand on stage as an entity separated from the audience, not creating the usual distance between artists and fans. They became part of the crowd itself, immersed in the same energy and army at the same time, became an integral part of performance. Phrases like BTS fans are number one no longer sounded like slogans or empty rhetoric. That night, it became a visible reality in every corner of the stadium. The diversity of the audience was also one of the most striking aspects. From teenagers to adults, from longtime fans who had followed BTS from the beginning to newcomers who had just discovered them, everyone came with the same purpose. No age barriers, no language barriers, no meaningful differences in background. What existed was a shared sense of belonging to the music and the moment. A unity formed not by identity, but by emotion. When the intro of Run, Bulletproof Run echoed, the atmosphere reached its peak with an intensity that was almost impossible to describe. The bass hits felt like physical vibrations traveling from the ground into every chest, creating a sensation beyond sound. The crowd's roar exploded, forming a pressure sound that felt almost tangible. Many describe it as a small earthquake, not because of destruction, but because of the sheer force of energy released simultaneously by tens of thousands of people. Interestingly, behind all this grandeur, it was the small details that added deeper emotional and human dimensions. Smiles exchanged between strangers who understood each other without words. Spontaneous screams slowly turning into unified chants without coordination. Phones raised high, trying to capture a moment that was too big to fully record, too complex to fit into a single frame. All of this created layers of emotion that could not be measured, reduced to statistics, or explained by data alone. And indeed, from a global perspective, this tour reflects BTS's dominance that continues without signs of slowing down. Every city they visit shows the same pattern. Sold-out stadiums, surging streams, significantly rising sales. But those numbers are only shadows of a much larger reality and experience that can only truly be understood by those who were there, who felt the vibrations, who became part of that energy. The night in Tampa was not just a closing of a 3-day concert. It was a climax, an emotional journey built gradually since the beginning of the tour, a point where music, visuals, emotion, and humanity met in near-perfect harmony. As the lights slowly dimmed at the end of the show and the sound began to fade, one feeling remained: something difficult to explain yet undeniably real. What had just happened was not something easily repeated, not something that could simply be recreated. BTS in 2026 did not just maintain their status as global icons. They went further by redefining what a concert means in the modern era. This is no longer just a music performance enjoyed from a seat. This is an immersive experience, a space where reality and emotion collide, where the boundary between artist and fan disappears, and where everyone present becomes part of a story bigger than themselves. And perhaps the question that remains after all of this is not how big was a concert, or how grand was a production, but something much deeper and more unsettling. Is it possible for someone to witness a moment like this without losing their sanity even for just a second? Thank you for watching until the very last second, Taehyung lovers. If you're still here, it means you felt it yourself. This is not just a concert story. This is a reality not everyone is ready to accept. What happened under the Tampa night sky was not just about a grand stage or loud cheers, but about how Kim Tae-young and BTS transformed the emotions of tens of thousands of people in a single, unrepeatable moment. And now the question is yours: is this still a concert, or has it become a force too powerful to ignore? Write your thoughts in the comments, because this is where everything becomes real between those who believe and those who still doubt. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell if you want to keep following facts that not everyone dares to discuss. If you don't like it, feel free to skip, because the Taehyung Lovers channel never forces, but always presents things as they are. And remember, this is not the end. This is only a small piece of a much bigger story. Stay tuned for the next updates only on Taehyung Lovers, because what hasn't been revealed is often more shocking than what you've already seen. Thank you, and see you again. That concludes our time together. Good night, stay safe, and see you in the next moment. Keep following updates about Kim Taehyung only on the Taehyung Lovers channel.